Well, hey everybody, this is a question I'm often asked. How do we learn improvising? How do we go from not being able to play any solos over the neck to being able to solo really freely? Even changing chord changes. Playing all kinds of styles and grooves and feels and changes. So I think there's a sequence of events that you really can't get them too out of order when you're learning to solo. Otherwise you'll be a bit confused and lost, which I think a lot of people find themselves in that position. So this is the way I would suggest you learn to improvise and how to practice improvising. This is the way I learned it, and it's the way that makes the most sense to me. So I hope this information is useful to you. Let's jump into it right away. So the first step is to learn some scales. Now I don't want you to think that, oh gosh, here we go, we got to learn scales again. Scales are so boring. Nobody likes scales really. But, just understanding the basic scales, I think is imperative if you want to be able to improvise all over the neck. The basic scales being the major scale, and I would say the minor pentatonic scale also, which is a simplified version of the natural minor scale. And so those three scales, I think, are the ones to start with. The major scale, the minor pentatonic, and the natural minor. The good news is the natural minor features the same notes as the major scale. So C major has the same notes, the C major scale that is, has the same notes as the A natural minor scale. So this is really useful because we're guitar players. Our instrument has frets, which means if we want to play in C, we play all our licks. And then we want to play the same thing in C sharp, we just move it up a fret. And so our hands just remember these shapes and these patterns. So it's important to get used to playing the scales. The way I like to practice scales, you'll play the scale in a few different places. Then play it in thirds. Whoops. And basically just get used to playing it all over the neck gradually. So, like I said, the first step is to just learn the scale. I'd probably try to learn it in thirds next. Then I'd pull up a backing track. There's plenty of backing tracks on YouTube. Just type in C major backing track and practice playing along with the backing track. Backing tracks are a great way to practice improvising because, if you're going to be playing in a band or jamming with someone and you're taking a solo and you've never really practiced improvising, you're not going to sound, really confident probably. So the way to get that confidence and to get used to playing improvised solos is to do it a lot and practice. And you can do it just with a metronome. You can make a rhythm track yourself. You can play rhythm guitar into your phone or into your computer and then play it back and jam along with yourself, or you can find backing tracks. That's a really good way to do it. So you might pull up a backing track in the key of C major and play some phrases like this. You might think, oh, that doesn't sound very, sexy, Joe. It just sounds like we're playing a scale. Well, when we're learning to improvise, everyone's going to sound like they're playing scales. It really takes a lot of work and a lot of repetitive playing before we can just find the sweet phrases that we like. everyone's going to have different tastes and different little phrases they're going to gravitate towards. But if you put on a backing track for 5 minutes and you just sit there and really focus on trying to find nice melodic ideas within a scale, that's a great way to practice. Okay, so that's enough on C major. So we have C major, A minor pentatonic. Now everyone knows this as kind of the, blues and rock and roll scale. And this is a great scale. Just type in A minor pentatonic backing track and sit there with your guitar. A lot of the great guitarists I know just have such a strong rhythmic pocket. Like the rhythm is almost as big a part of it as the melody, like the notes they're playing, and as the harmonic complexity of the scale or the chords or whatever. You listen to Stevie Ray play and he's playing in one scale usually, and it's just got such a great intensity and feel and pocket. It's because his groove is just absolutely slamming. So when you're practicing with the backing track, just try to get the music to feel good and to groove and work on your phrasing. Try to phrase it behind the beat a little bit, try to phrase it on top of the beat a little bit, and really just work on, not necessarily thinking about how to not sound like a scale, but how to play catchy little phrases that have a good pocket. So you can spend a lot of time just playing with a pentatonic scale along with the backing track and not get bored. And the natural minor scale, has the same notes as C major. So as you learn C major all over the neck, you learn the A natural minor scale all over the neck. And so you can type into, the search bar, A natural minor backing track, and you'll find all kinds of cool things to play along to. And this is a scale you can really stretch out and just like the major scale, there's 7 notes there, and you can play all kinds of always trying to just be tasty, trying to play with nice vibrato and phrasing, and it takes a while to get to that point because we're going to sound like we're just kind of trying not to hit a wrong fret at first. I remember that's what I was like, but you just get used to it after a while. So anyway, that's the kind of first step, is to just get comfortable with those basic scales and to practice them a lot, with a backing track. If you get a chance to play with your friends in a band or jam with your mate and you want to jam away and practice those scales, that's even better than playing with the backing track, of course. But when you're at home, playing with the backing track is great. So, like I said, the hands get used to remembering the fret positions. So it's really important to just run scales and just play a lot, learn a lot of great tunes. As the more tunes you learn, the more you kind of learn, okay, that fret sounds like that. And you kind of just learn the guitar through learning a lot of songs. So, I think the most important thing overall is to just keep at it, keep working at it, and don't give up. A lot of what I do, I feel as a teacher, I teach over on my Guitar Synergy channel. I have a lot of students there. And, a lot of what I do is just reassure people that they're doing the right thing. They're taking the right approach. People will send me messages or post videos and say, what do you think about this? And I'll say, you're doing the right thing, keep doing this, keep doing that. You'll get there. Try this, think about that. It's just, we all know what to do for the most part. At least I think most people do. So let's say we've learnt the major scale, the natural minor scale, and the pentatonic scale all over the fingerboard. And now we want to learn some kind of more sophisticated scales. I'd suggest learning the Mixolydian mode, the Dorian mode, and also the harmonic minor scale. So the Mixolydian mode is one you can use kind of over a dominant 7th chord like this. The Dorian mode is one you can use over a chord progression like this one. Kind of like Evil Ways. harmonic minor scale sounds like this. It's an invaluable scale for playing jazz or anything kind of with a, a bit of a gypsy flavor to it, you might say. So getting comfortable with those 3 scales, I think, is really worth doing. I have lessons for the melodic minor, the Mixolydian mode and the Dorian mode here on YouTube, so check those out. And the harmonic minor scale is really worth learning too. There's all these tricks with the harmonic minor scale. Like if you were playing Georgia on My Mind, going from a G chord to a B7, you play G major over the G, or kind of like a G blues vibe. And then you go up to the B7 chord, and you can play E harmonic minor. So it'd be like... kind of hear the chords changing within, that little phrase. And the reason we can play the E harmonic minor there is because we take a B7 chord and think, what doesn't fit in the key of G major, which is the key we're in? Well, that E flat doesn't fit. So what if we played a G major scale with an E flat? Harmonic minor. There we go. So anyway, it's a very useful scale. So getting used to those in a basic way and practicing those over backing tracks. There's backing tracks for all these scales. You can pull up a million Mixolydian mode backing tracks in all keys. You don't need to learn the scales in every single key before you move on to the next scale. Just get a basic familiarity with it and eventually branch out to different keys. And once you've kind of learnt those scales in a basic way, and had some experience practicing with them, I suggest learning a few jazz standards and selecting, some simple standards to deconstruct. You might choose like Sweet Georgia Brown, going from E7 to A7 to D7 to G. You play E Mixolydian, A Mixolydian, D Mixolydian, to G. And it's great to play some blues music as well, just to make your phrasing sound a little less, majory. I think, the blues guys really, and girls, really figured out how to, get the most out of a simple chord progression that has a lot of sophistication. So playing the blues is always great. But yeah, learning some simple jazz standards to get used to playing over the changes is what I would suggest as the next step. So tunes like Sweet Georgia Brown, All of Me is another good one, going from C to E7, which you'd play A harmonic minor over that E7 chord to an A7, play D harmonic minor to a D minor chord, etc. So you just kind of take one jazz standard at a time. Maybe you'd spend a month on just that standard and work on playing over the changes, get used to it, learn the ins and outs, play along with the backing track until your roommates and your family members in the household are driven absolutely crazy when you play the same backing track over and over and over again. But phrasing takes a while to develop. Being able to improvise takes a while to develop, but it's a really, really wonderful skill. There's nothing like being on the bandstand and being able to jam and play, music with people, because we don't want to just be locked into playing the exact same piece by rote all the time. And also, transcribing is a great thing to do, and you can certainly learn a lot from transcribing your favorite soloists. I kind of wish I had done that more, and I could certainly benefit from doing more transcribing. But I feel like at the end of the day, you just got to find your own phrases to play, and you've got to practice it and do it and build that confidence up. Because if you don't do it, you're not going to be able to do it with confidence. So I highly recommend practicing along with the backing tracks, working on those different scales, those different sounds, and that's how I would suggest you develop your improvising skills. The two main questions I'm asked by guitar players is, about fingerstyle guitar, how to get the fingerstyle technique together, how to learn songs, how to record songs, all that, and how to improvise. And the improvising one, I feel like, is a pretty simple process. It's difficult and it takes a while, and it requires some, thinking outside the box. You have to be willing to, be brave and to play wrong notes occasionally and just try things. And also, just it's vulnerable being a creative person when you're creating something, when you're writing a song or you're improvising a solo. There's an element of you're just trying to come up with something cool, as opposed to just playing, a piece that's already been written and that's exact, and all you got to do is not mess it up. It's kind of a different part of the brain, metaphorically speaking. So I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe to my channel here if you haven't already. Let me know if you have any questions. I wanted to make this video because I get a lot of questions about how to practice improvising and how to work on learning how to play solos on the guitar. So thanks for watching. Take care.